culture of the UK. So I touched earlier just on the difference between London and the north of England, where I am, the M62 corridor. London tends to be, and I don't want to upset anybody, but it tends to be more aggressive. It's definitely a faster paced place to be. Business is a little bit more aggressive and things get done a little bit quicker. In the north here in England, so if you come to the areas anywhere up from Birmingham really, tends to be a little bit more laid back and a little bit of a slower pace, and business, obviously I'm from the north so I can say what I wish, but it tends to be a little bit more honest. So we deliver the truth at all times, and it's the way that people speak. It's just a little bit more easygoing. So you see there on the culture, we're a handshake sort of guys. None of the kisses of our European friends. A simple handshake, perfect. You see, the working day in the UK is 9 till 5 p.m. Most people taking an hour for lunch, though these days. I know in the forwarding industry, it's rare to see people leave the desk for an hour these days. They might nip for a coffee for 10 minutes, but it's rare. But if you're working in the UK to go see companies, the best time to do some business in terms of appointments would be between 10 and 12 noon, and definitely from 2 to maybe 4 in an afternoon is the perfect time, in trying to avoid much earlier times and definitely avoiding the lunch. You'd be better off a business meeting from 2 p.m. in the afternoon would be perfect if you want to spend a couple of hours there and not get rushed out of the building. Mentioned the body language is pretty friendly. And obviously the corporate culture, again, I'm from the north of England. It's very professional. We like to get things done, and we deliver exactly what we're offering. But again, it's very honest and pretty friendly. And obviously communication touched on the bottom there, which is a benefit for all you guys in America and us guys here in the UK. It's English all the way. Though you may find, and I'm sure if some of you have had the pleasure of travelling in England, travelling to Scotland can be a different dialect, and it can be quite, you've got to sometimes listen, me too. Parts of England, there's Newcastle where they speak a different dialect. I'm sure you can tell from I'm from Yorkshire, so I have quite a broad tone. And then you've got the guys, I'm sure everybody in the world must have heard a Liverpudlian speak, which is quite a different thing altogether. So yeah, English all the way, but you've maybe got to listen a little bit carefully.
For sure.
So, David, is there a difference in practices or culture between Scotland, Isle of Man, Wales, Cornwall, or Northern Ireland, or even throughout, Northern and Southern England?
There's a difference where, as I would say, I think in London it's a little bit more direct. It's definitely a faster paced place to go and work. You mentioned you've mentioned the Isle of Man and so on. There's small islands. We've got the Channel Islands, we've got the Isle of Man, and there's various islands in Scotland. These places are quite remote, and obviously they're generally served from the UK. So there'll be small trucking companies going from a main hub in all those places on a daily type service. It'd be just it's classed as a UK delivery. Northern Ireland's definitely a different culture. They're based, obviously, again, a smaller island, off an island, as it were. A lot of their business is done. A lot of their business is between Northern and Southern Ireland. They use the services of Dublin, which is in the south, a great deal. It's definitely a different culture to the UK. Scotland in itself, again, they've got their main parts of Scotland. I mean, it's again a large area. The population is quite small for the size of the area. They're condensed in 2 or 3 major cities. So there's definitely a difference in culture, and you tend to find. I mean, I've worked in the forwarding industry for 30 years, and we still have the issue where I'm from an area called Leeds, and the area of Leeds, we tend not to get on too well with people from maybe Manchester or Liverpool. It always used to be a little bit of a thing. It more relates to soccer, as you would call it, but it still exists where there's different cultures in different areas. Yeah. On to what to wear, just moving on, same on the culture for now. So on a day-to-day, it's basically trousers, jacket and a shirt would be the norm within the office. I'm not wearing a tie today because I thought it was a little bit, you American guys are a little bit more laid back than us in the UK, so I left my tie off. And again, I mentioned there about being away from the office, out of offices. If you ever come to the UK, I guarantee you will visit a British pub. And in that pub, you tend to find that people are really casual, t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. That's the main thing. to wear. I touched on earlier about times during the day, some meals and meetings there. So it's actually rare for me as a salesman. I work on the road 2 or 3 days a week. It's very, very rare for me to get a lunchtime appointment with someone these days. People just don't have the time. You tend to find that in the shipping industry or the export or import shipments, the staff who work at manufacturing sites just don't have the time. So it's very rare to get a lunch appointment with someone these days. You're more likely to, you grab them in an afternoon for 30, 60 minutes, but it's very rare to go out for lunch. Difference would be if you were out and you were meeting a client on an evening. It's definitely, the times from work from 5:30 onward. I would suspect if you came to the UK and you met someone, you'd definitely be in the surroundings of a pub and maybe a restaurant. So we don't start over late. It's you'd probably go to an evening meal, between the hours of maybe 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. and maybe from there, maybe a drink in a pub after.